New at 5, San Antonio City Council approves a measure to pour $500,000 into Wolff Stadium.
The improvements mark a major step forward toward making the facility a AAA ballpark. Eyewitness News reporter Sharon Coe joins us from the west side. And Sharon, what changes can we expect to see out at the Wolff?
Jeff and Deborah, changes are happening top to bottom. This money is going to transform the stadium for both the players and fans. A contract was approved to do some waterproofing for the bleachers and concourse. The funding will also change the clubhouse, dugout, and batting cages. Currently, the stadium is a AA ballpark, but starting with the 2019 season, a AAA team is moving in and the stadium will need to make necessary upgrades. Besides the basic amenities, the isolated location of the stadium here has been an issue. Judge Nelson Wolff says while talks of a new stadium are still in discussion, the mayor does not support building a new stadium, saying it would be very expensive.
We've been trying to get another stadium, but so far there's not been any luck. So hopefully they'll take in consideration of sizing that up for AAA ball. We built that stadium when I was mayor, and we built it to where it could be sized up.
Now all the improvements will have to be finished by April 1st. That's when the season starts. Reporting live, Sharon Coe, KENS 5 Eyewitness News.